You are listening to Houston Weekend Magazine. My name is Mystic Matthews, and joining me on the show today is Gabrielle Ballmeyer. She is president and co-founder of Reason2Race. They have some wonderful events coming up this year, and she's here today to talk about the organization and the events and how you can get involved. How are you doing today, Gabrielle?
I'm doing well, Mystic. Thanks.
Great. So glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about Reason2Race, how the organization was founded, and what exactly it is that you guys do.
Reason2Race is really all about having athletes of any level participate in an athletic event and having racing for their community make a difference for them. We believe there's an athlete in every one of us. And at some point, people have thought, wow, wouldn't it be neat to do a 5K or a marathon or a bike ride? And we say you can absolutely 100% do it if you have a big enough reason to. So we give them a cause that really does provide that extra motivation and accountability for them to reach their finish line.
And how long have you been president and co-founder of Reason2Race?
We started the organization in 2010, really out of our love for people doing athletic events and making a difference in the community. We founded the organization to give athletes an opportunity to take on an event, any level that they choose, maybe one that they've thought about for years and years and one that's been on their bucket list for a long time, and give them an opportunity to have that goal be realized.
And the important part of that is bringing in those nonprofit organizations that need help. Maybe we don't know how to help them or how to support them, but we know that we want to do some sort of athletic event. And this is a wonderful way to do it. But explain to us how that works exactly.
To go back to your question about how we started, I'm an athlete myself. I started doing athletic events. At age 15, I did a 5K, and at that time I made my decision that I was going to do a marathon at some point. And 12 years later, I finally did because I chose a cause and I raced for a cause. And so it really motivated me to get going and to reach that finisher line and get that finisher medal. The way we support athletes is we encourage them to pick a race. And when I say athletes, I really do mean athletes of all levels. So it can be someone who's just starting out or someone who's been doing athletic events for years. And so we say, pick a race. Tell us what your goal is for that race. Is it to win? Is it to just finish? Is it to run and not walk? And they get a free web page where they can say what their race goal is. So they put that race goal on that webpage, and now they're accountable to their friends and family who they told about that race, that they're going to complete the race and have that motivation to do so. And they can pick whatever cause they want. People can choose any cause that they want. There's no fundraising minimum. So we say shoot high, put at least $1,000 as your goal and just see what happens. And because there's no fundraising minimum, people just are really at free choice to do what they'd like.
Okay, so give us an example of an event and how somebody who's never done anything like this before is interested in Reason2Race, how they would get started and what exactly they would do to go through the process.
Go to reason2race.com, go to the button that says nonprofit partners, and then they would just look to see what partners we have. They'd also go to maybe our partner program tab, which says all of the different events that we've partnered with. Now, keep in mind, people can race any race that they want. And sometimes people come to our website and they already know that they want to go do the Rock and Roll Marathon in California, or they already know they want to go to Austin and do the half marathon. And so the idea is to pick a race, whether you want to choose one from our website or pick one that you already have your eye on. And then you look at the nonprofit partners that we have. And then you find one that calls to your heart. And if there's not one there, then let us know which one you want, and we'll work on having them become a partner. And then once they're up on our website and you're ready to go, you create a web page, you put your story on, put your fundraising goal, and then you send it out.
And is there any cost to do this?
Not for the athlete, no. It's absolutely a free program that they can do. And we always encourage them to pick one race a year. Pick that A race. You don't fundraise for 5 different races in the year. It's whatever race is going to be the one where having a cause and having extra motivation is going to be that extra kick for you to get you up off the couch, get out there training, do the hard runs that you don't want to do, or do the long bike rides that you don't want to do. It's free of cost.
And so that's kind of the motivation behind it, is if you have a reason that you are racing, then you're more likely to finish.
Absolutely. And not only more likely to finish, it's also that you've included your community in something that you're doing. I can't tell you how many times we have athletes that say, yeah, I haven't even told my mom and dad, or I haven't even told the people I work with that I'm even doing this. And it's like, well, why not? They're totally going to be your extra motivation and
accountability.
Yeah, it's inevitable. I can't tell you how many times also, Mystic, that people approach us, they ask if there's a fundraising minimum, and we say, no, there's not. Or they ask, well, what are the restrictions? And there really are none. It's like something gets lifted in them and they say, oh, well, if I can just do whatever I want, then I'll just do it. And it turns out to be when they send out their page, first person donates, whether it's the person from high school that they haven't talked to in years or it's their boss, all of a sudden their life has changed because now they know that they have people in their life who care about what they're doing. And not only do they care about their taking on a race, they care that they've made the step to make a difference in the community as well. And it becomes a very inspiring thing for everybody around them.
Now tell us about some of the nonprofit partners that you are currently working with. People might hear that and think, well, I would love to support them. I just don't know how.
The partners really range from organizations that are helping children, organizations that are helping battle the human trafficking problem that we have here in Houston, to a church that wants to raise money for their mission trips. So it's really any 501c3 that wants to have this opportunity not only available to their supporter base, but to other people who might not even know about them.
Absolutely. And a lot of times nonprofits have that problem of getting the word out.
Yes.
Reaching people.
Yes.
Much less raising money for their mission.
Yes.
And how do you find these nonprofit partners?
Well, it's been a real miracle, Mystic. They found us. They have found us. And we love getting those phone calls and we love getting those emails. And we have really great race director partners. When the nonprofit finds us, what we provide them, Mystic, is really, you can call us a fundraising platform, if you will, but we really go above and beyond that in that we really do partner with the nonprofit. They're called our partners for a reason. It's because we partner with them to truly build something that is sustainable for them over time. We show them how to introduce people to racing for them. They might not even know what racing is themselves. People pay a registration fee and then they show up. That's what a race is all about. Sometimes it gets that basic. And then we show them how to invite their already supporters to come and participate with them. We show them what it means to support someone who's racing for them. When John Smith decides to race for you, there's support that you want to give John Smith. There's acknowledgement that you want to give him. There's sample emails that you want him to be able to have so that he has the fundraising tools. So we really do work hand in hand with those nonprofits to show them how to build a team and to have their team be successful. That is something unique about what we were doing. And
that is amazing because even though they need to raise money, they need help doing it sometimes because not everyone just knows the way to host a race, a triathlon. This is something that you've been doing for a while as far as even before you had this organization.
Absolutely.
Just doing fundraising. And when we're talking about doing one a year, is there one that you do every year or are you still an athlete in multiple? I mean, how does that work for you?
Funny you should ask because my big race for this year is a half Ironman that I'm doing in November. I'm racing for a children's organization. And since 2007, I have picked one race a year. And that children's organization actually got me to Ironman. I had a lifelong goal of reaching the Ironman finish line, and I was able to complete that because I chose a cause to really be that motivator for me. And I set a fundraising goal of $1,000, which is our recommendation, right? Shoot high. Funny story is my very first donation was $1,000. I said, wow, I still have 5 months to my event. What do I do now? And my husband looks at me and he says, well, raise your goal, of course. So I said, should I do it to 3,000? He says, no, put 10. I raised $25,000 for those children, and I did my Ironman event. And I often say, Mystic, I often ask the question, who got the better end of that deal? Because I got an Ironman finisher medal, and there were a lot of children who were served.
That is an amazing story, and anyone can have that story.
Right.
All they have to do is sign up. As far as the donation program structure, how does that work?
We love these race directors who've partnered with us because they've approached us, Mystic, and they've said, well, look, we have these races that we're doing every year. We've been doing them like clockwork, and we want to be giving in our community, and we want our races to not only make a difference in those athletes' lives because they really are committed that these athletes have a great experience and they get to their finish line. Well, the best part about partnering with Reason2Race is now we've given that athlete another opportunity to make that experience even better. And so these donation programs that are set up within our partner race series are programs where if you're raising money for a particular race, one of our partner races, and you happen to be one of the highest fundraisers, the race director will give you more money for your charity. It's not even the nonprofits that are producing the races. They're simply going to races that are already being produced by somebody else. And that somebody else, whether it's On Your Mark Productions or another race series in town that we've partnered with, that's what they do for a living. And so our partner nonprofits, we say, well, why don't you just go do these races that are already being produced by somebody else? You don't have to produce it yourself. And by the way, if your fundraisers happen to be some of the top fundraisers and they really do well in the fundraising, the race director will give you more money for your charity.
That's awesome.
With our program, there are no requirements of the nonprofit except promote the opportunity within your base and have people go do it. There are no requirements by the race director for the nonprofits.
So it's not the nonprofits that are necessarily hosting the races.
Correct.
They're just participating in other races.
Correct. We just happen to say, look, we have these partnerships where there is a total of over $40,000 available for your people to win. And so we say, hey, come and do these races and bring a team of 5 to 10 people, and you could walk away with an extra $2,000.
That's awesome. As far as race series goes, are we talking like some are 5Ks versus some being marathons? Is that the difference in the race series?
The differences are we have some race series that have triathlons included. So you have the small triathlon, sprint triathlon, you have an Olympic triathlon, which is basically double the size of the sprint, or you have another race series where they have 5K, 10K, half marathon, and full marathon. Because we know, again, people are at all different levels.
Absolutely. And when you say athlete, it really can be the beginner all the way up to someone who's running their 20th marathon.
Yeah, I don't want people to get intimidated by the word athlete.
Right, because we can all be athletes.
Everybody is an athlete. And what's funny, Mystic, is, even though I've done Ironman event myself and I've been doing these events for years and years, I still don't even consider myself a true athlete. And people laugh at me when I say that, but we all started someplace.
We think of athletes as professional football players who are making millions of dollars. They happen to just get paid for being strong and playing a sport.
Yes.
The rest of us don't necessarily get paid, but we can still be athletes. I grew up cheerleading, and that was always an athlete's sport for me. Cheerleaders get hurt more than the statistic was almost as many times as football players or something crazy. We all are. We can all be an athlete. Now, tell us about some of the race dates that are coming up that we can be training for now.
Well, the ones we have in our immediate future, we've partnered with On Your Mark Productions to give you the On Your Mark Giving Challenge. And they have 4 races that are in their series. And the next one coming up is called the Cypress Triathlon, and it's on August 3rd. And that has a sprint triathlon. It even has a young person's triathlon and a doggy duathlon, believe it or not, so people can go out with their dog and swim and run.
That's fun.
And the donation program there, it's called the On Your Mark Giving Challenge. And so the top 10 fundraisers get some division of $2,000 divvied out to them if they're in the top fundraising slots.
Wonderful. And that's coming up in August, and then there's more in that series.
Yes. Out in Cyprus, there's the Town Lake Triathlon, and that one also has a sprint triathlon, a smaller one, and an Olympic triathlon, and that has the same type of donation structure within the On Your Mark Giving Challenge, so $2,000 available for the top 10 fundraisers to give to their charities.
Okay, and what if we want to raise more money and participate in other events? Is there opportunities to have more go back to your charity?
Absolutely. So you have to keep in mind that as people are fundraising to try and be the top fundraisers, they're fundraising. And so anything you raise on your way to the finish line, that is already going to your charity and that is in their pocket. And if you want to pick an event that's maybe later out in the year and next, starting in the spring, we have a spring marathon, half marathon, marathon relay. In that donation program, in that particular race, it's called the Woodlands Charity Challenge, and that has $18,000 worth of prize donation to win.
To know that you're fundraising and then you could still raise more money just by showing up and having raised the most.
Yes. For that Woodlands event, Mystic, the top fundraiser, so whoever raises the most out of all the different people who are fundraising for whatever charity, again, the top fundraiser gets an additional $3,000 to their cause.
Wonderful. And the people who are running in the Woodlands Marathon, they may be running for a cause. They may not be.
Right.
But what would it hurt that everyone there be running for a cause?
It would be a dream come true. That event has about 8,000 people. If we had 10% of them do that, it's 800 people, and it's a rather high average. On average, people raise about $700 to $800. So if you do the multiplication on that, it's a pretty big difference that can get made.
So how do we reach out to those people?
Finding the people that are in the marathon? Well, the thing is that we've partnered with the marathon, so we stay in communication and we send people who are already signed up. If they express interest in the program, we let them know this is what the program is, and you can join in and you can have fun with it and free of cost to you, and you can just do it.
Absolutely. So, it's just a matter of time getting people to know about it and sign up to Race for a Reason.
Yes.
Races are always going on.
Yes.
Even in the middle of the summer.
Always.
We can be running a 5K if we want. Always. Last month in downtown, instead of racing like a 5K, they did a 48 flight race to the top of a high rise in downtown. I'm like, that is so cool. There's just so many opportunities. So all you have to do is get involved. As far as a nonprofit goes, they can either join to race in these types of events that are already being produced,
Right.
or could they do their own? And that's where you guys come in to help.
They can do their own. The way we would help them if they do want to do that, if they want to take on that, call it an endeavor because it is something to produce a race, we can give them resources to race directors that we know that could be able to help them produce that. Because Reason2Race, we in and of ourselves, we do not produce the
Right.
event. But we have lots of resources to give them. So if they did want to put on a 5K or 10K, they could find the right resource to help them do that.
Absolutely. And what if there's like an organization that's already been doing that?
Yes.
They could just have their athletes just sign up and start running with you guys.
Yeah, if they've already been producing a race and maybe not leveraging fundraising, having the 500 people who are already doing that race, if they have not invited them to race and raise money for them, we can show them how to extend that invitation and have it be an effective one. Right.
Sometimes we don't have the time
Yes.
to volunteer every week,
Right.
but we can do that one 5K a year.
Yeah.
If that's what we choose.
Yeah, and one of the key things about how we support the nonprofits and building their team and supporting their team is we have them really change the context of how they invite people to do this. Mm-hmm. Because when you ask someone, hey, have you ever thought about doing a 5K? Have you ever wanted to do a marathon? The answer to that question might be different than, hey, would you want to come fundraise for us? They're very different questions. And so the way we show the nonprofit how to invite and elicit participation is very different in that it's about the athlete making something happen for them. And you, the nonprofit, are providing them the complete privilege it is to make a difference.
Absolutely.
And to have that experience in their life of changing someone else's life.
Absolutely. If you ask me to run a marathon, I'm going to tell you no.
Right?
Only because you are wonderful people, but it's not in my being
Yes.
to run that many miles. I have a car for that.
Yes. We've been partners now with the Woodlands Marathon. We're coming up on our third year with them. They've had incredible results. The first year they, wanted to raise a certain amount of money, and we got up to $116,000 being raised by only 115 people. And if you do the math on that, it's pretty extraordinary. And then this past year, Mystic, we only had 135 people, but they raised over $160,000.
It's amazing.
Yes. Yes. And so I go back to what you said about, what if we had just had everybody do it? Well, the miracles will be far reaching. And I think if people just know about this opportunity, especially folks who have a charity that they love and adore, whether they're the head of it or whether their sister started it, let us know. We can help you really have the most out of your participation in a race and be with that charity. We also have a corporate program, which means a lot of corporations have health and wellness programs. They want to keep their people healthy and get moving, and they also want to give back to the community. So we have programs that we help manage within corporations to have a giving program be a smart one that's focused around the health and wellness of their employees.
That's amazing. And that's one less thing that corporation has
Yes.
to come up with
Yes.
and do themselves.
We know how to do it. We know how to keep people actively participating.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Gabrielle. It's been fun having you on and talking about just the wonderful things that we can be doing to help our community and stay healthy, because
Yes.
that's so important. There's such great food in Houston, so we have to counter that
Exactly.
with a little bit of activity. It's been great having you on, Gabrielle Baumeier, president and co-founder of Reason2Race. Give us your website and phone number one more time.
It's reason2race.com. That's reason, the number 2, race.com. And you can always contact us at 713-662-0220.
You're listening to Houston Weekend Magazine. I'm Mystic Matthews.